How's it going, guys? So this week on Photography with Brad Kelly, I'm going to teach you how you can use these 5 important steps and these 5 important tips to level up your photography game. So tip number 1 is creating mood with dramatic lighting. You can create mood in photography. You can create mood in photographs by looking where the light is hitting the subject or object. So if you're using, I'm going to be putting an example up on the screen right now. So if you're using, say, a old motel, for example, and you've got like really dark, moody clouds in the background or in the sky, that can then it can then affect where the light's going to hit on the subject or the object. Another way you can do this is basically using black and white photography to create that mood and to create that sort of dramatic lighting. You can always create dramatic lighting through black and white. I know I love black and white photography, and you can always usually create dramatic lighting even if it's color photography. So looking at where we've got this, looking at using natural lighting to convey a dramatic look or mood, you can use dramatic lighting, you can use natural lighting instead of studio lighting to create a dramatic mood in the photo. And as we move into tip number 2 this week, using basic composition rules to make a photograph look better than what it actually is. So you can do this by using the compositional rule of thirds. Now I'm hoping everyone that's watching this channel, I'm hoping that you do know what rule of thirds is. And if you don't know what rule of thirds is, it's basically those middle sort of lines, so we've got a picture up on the screen right now, and as you can see, it's got those middle lines, those 2 lines that make up 9, and it's got those ones that are up like that. So you're using the middle sort of square, and you're using the 4 corners of that middle square to create leading lines to draw eyes in photography. So another example is if you've got, say, a big mountain shot and there's a little track leading up to the mountain shot, then you can use that to draw people's eyes in and make them go on a path to eventually discover that it's a mountain shot and all that sort of stuff. You can also use leading lines, as I said, to create it just allows to draw people's eyes in and create a bit more interesting photo. Tip number 3 in this week's Photography with Brad Kelly is using unique angles to create unique perspectives. So you can do this by creating a new or an interesting angle by doing this in your photographs, and this could do or die your photography, and this could do or die the angle that you're looking for. Now, to do this, you can either if you can't do like normal angles or something, you can create a different sort of angle by getting under the eye level. So down below or up high in getting the photo. So basically looking up at the object or looking down on the object. So basically I'm going to be showing an example of this, and it's basically looking at this small object and creating interesting sort of perspective. Now you think this object that I'm talking about is actually a cup. Well, no, it's not. It's a bottle top of like a plastic bottle or a drinking bottle or something like that. So you can use that to basically create a different angle on your shot, and you can also use that to create like a different perspective looking down or looking up at it. So tip number 4 this week is, why don't you try a different focal point? So sometimes you can create a different focal point by looking at, say, like an odd shape like a cow. So if if you have the opportunity to do this, you can take a photo of an like an odd proportioned shape like a cow, and if you get again, using angles to create a more interesting photo, you can get underneath, or you can try and get underneath, underneath the proportioned face of a cow, and make it look like the cow is big in proportion size and looks a bit odd, I guess. You can do that by obviously getting down, using your angles and looking up and getting what looks like a odd photo or odd combination of a photo. And for a real example, I'll be putting that image up on screen right now. That image, I don't really take that many cow photos. I'm in a country town in where I live, and many people wouldn't have the opportunity to take cow photos unless they've gone to, say, like a farm nursery or something like that. So other focal points you can use a different focal point, as I said, to release a new perspective, and for example, being a different angle, say cow, which then leads up to odd objects. So the last tip that I would like to say, and I'd like to basically get my point across, is using post-production to enhance your photo. So if you're using creative techniques to basically enhance the look of your photo, or enhancing the look of a photo through post-production techniques, you can use this by doing it will then eventually improve the likability of your photo. It will improve it will then possibly improve like enhancing the colors and the highlights and the shadows and all that sort of stuff. So tips you can do this: you can use creative techniques to basically create a black and white photo. I know when I was studying at school, the first thing that we learnt in my photography class was black and white photography through film, and using dark rooms to try and using dark rooms and old techniques and old-fashioned techniques to basically develop a photo that normally you'd be using chemicals and all that sort of stuff, and techniques and things that are really outdated nowadays, and you can just use a DSLR to create an image, and then it sends it to a SD card. You can also get these post-productions to enhance your photos through vivid colors and using overlays on the photo. And so if you enjoyed this week's Photography with Brad Kelly, I'll be back here on the channel next week on Sunday, and this video will be coming out this Sunday. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed learning 5 tips to improve your photography. And as always, you can always subscribe, like, share, comment if these tips were helpful. And as always, see you next time on how you can improve your photography with Brad Kelly.